at this point, if this is a bull market cycle, if you look at past bull markets, investors were still very bearish. Like I still vividly remember when Bitcoin was at 10,000 in 2000 and late 18, 19, people were still very scared. And Bitcoin at that point was up 200% basically off of its lows. Here we have, in my opinion, the bullishness is near the bullishness that we saw when we were at the tops at 69,000.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have master trader Gareth Soloway discussing his recent prediction for Bitcoin and his concerns with the current state of the crypto market. Soloway expresses concern that if Bitcoin falls below $24,000, we could still be looking at a low of 12 to 13,000 and as low as 9,000 in case the stock market experiences a significant sell-off. Soloway is alarmed by the current bullishness in cryptocurrency and predicts there is still more pain to come, possibly even a market collapse this year. He also believes the stock market will experience a significant downturn soon, which he's concerned will negatively impact crypto. Soloway also discusses his skepticism about the 4-year cycle theory, given the limited data we have and variables like inflation and the activity of the Fed. Let's get right into the interview with Gareth Soloway, as he gives his latest prediction for Bitcoin and where the crypto market is headed in the second half of the year. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
You know, again, when you see Pepe running, I think it's up like 1,500% now in a week, and it literally has no value whatsoever, but it's just getting pumped. Those are red flags to me as a trader and an investor, right? If this was the stock market and I saw AMC doing that again or GameStop, I would be equally as concerned. And so to me, it doesn't seem like a true bottom. So it has me on edge. And I still think whether we go higher or not, my guess is there's still more pain to fully flush out crypto. And that could come from regulation. It could come from stock market collapsing. One of the things I like to say is even though I think we could go a little bit higher in the stock market, we discussed that as well, I still think we are headed much, much lower over the next year or two in the stock market. And if that does happen, it's hard for me to believe that crypto will withstand, 20, 30% down on the S&P 500.
What are your charts telling you?
So this is how I have my chart set up. And basically you can see we had this is where the banking crisis kind of started, right in this area. We had the big push up, we then had sideways move. We just talked about how that 27,000 level is the current support here. Up here, this is your 30,500 level. And again, just to show everyone where I'm getting that from is if you stretch that line all the way back, you have this little pivot right here, which was hit multiple times after this initial move in Bitcoin. It came down, it hit again, then ran to 65,000. Then it came down again and hit 1, 2, 3, 4 times, then ran to 69,000 before breaking back and consolidating right at that same level. So technically speaking, to me, that's a huge wall right there. And we've already seen it tested and now it's, it's pulling back a little bit, but we're hanging relatively close. So you got to give it credit. It's not collapsing right off that level, which means there is a chance it can break through. If you break 30,500, I have this trend line from this pivot right here to here. That would probably be your first area of resistance. So if we get through 30,500, you're looking at 33, 34,000 right up here. On the downside, if we take out the 27,000, you have this pivot here at 24 and this at 25. So those would be your two levels. This would be my concern, right? If we ever get below this line and we break this trend line, that's where I would say, okay, now we're likely at least going to test the lows at 15.7. I still think there's possibility that we could see 12 to 13,000 and 9,000. It seems kind of ludicrous at this point, but again, from some of the stuff I'm looking at on the stock market, that would be the catalyst, is that if the stock market really does take a dump later this year or next year, that selling pressure will take Bitcoin with it. Especially, and again, just looking at common sense things like, if we look at this big M top and then how much we've rallied back, I mean, again, bear markets have bull rallies within them, right? Just like bull markets have bear pullbacks within them. And so this to me is still showing me that we're within that. Now, it's kind of interesting because you could talk to what we would call fundamentalists in crypto, where they're saying, well, it's the 4-year cycle playing out again, and honestly, it looks like that, right? This is where the 4-year cycle normally would start to bring Bitcoin up. You got the halving next year, all of these factors. I'm just skeptical about that. Number one, everyone's talking about that. That makes me wary that it actually will play out. And number two is that this is the first crypto bear market where the Fed is not printing money. You only go back to 2009 in our data on Bitcoin. So yes, it's had 4-year cycles, but you've only had 3 of those, right? I mean, it's not a huge data sample size. And so now we have the Fed that's actually tightening. We have inflation higher, so they're somewhat handcuffed in terms of printing money again. To me, that could throw a wrench in the 4-year cycle that we've been accustomed to seeing. So we talked about this lower trend line. So it's more level by level. So we break this 27 level, then we're headed to 24 to 25. We break that, then we're testing this level. If that breaks, then we get into the danger zone where I think you are going back there. But I think in terms of probabilities, I'm right with Prechter in that, to me, this is a bear market rally as of now until proven otherwise. I'm not sure if by year end we only have about a little over 6 months left, but I think if you said 12 months, then I do expect new lows to occur within that period. If we don't hit new lows within 12 months, then I think honestly we're in a bull market and we're off to the races. I think, every bull and bear market has somewhat of a time factor attached to it. And so you're kind of in this period where if we're going to see the downside, maybe we go a little higher first, but we need to see it sooner than later. Eventually we see the bull market really, investors will finally say, okay, let's drive this thing higher. And I also think that, you're in a period where you have this waiting on regulation. I do believe that, and it's not technical, but if we get regulation and clarity at some point, that also can be a positive for Bitcoin as it will allow big money to come in. So, and by the way, you might say, well, why the heck haven't we got regulation yet? It's been forever. And even in fact, Coinbase is suing the SEC, asking for clarifications on the regulatory stuff. And the answer is very simple, is that the government wants to release their CBDC first and then give the clarifications because they want that foothold. And China, interestingly enough, China did this exact same thing. They basically outlawed Bitcoin and then they launched their digital yuan, and then they brought back Bitcoin. And recently they've said, hey, it's okay now because the digital yuan got a foothold in the system. And basically it's now being used as a reserve currency with transactions between countries. So I think the US doesn't want to ban Bitcoin. It's not going to do it to that extent, but they're basically holding back regulation so that big money doesn't get into these big things until there's a CBDC out there.
Soloway suggests that if Bitcoin does not hit new lows within the next 12 months, then it's possible Bitcoin may enter a bull market. He believes that the timing of bull and bear markets is an essential factor, and the market is currently in a waiting period. Soloway also states that the delay in regulatory clarity for crypto is due to the U.S. government's intention to release its central bank digital currency before giving any clarifications. He believes that we're still in a bear market phase, but with bull rallies. He says that the U.S. government wants to avoid a complete ban on Bitcoin, but is holding back regulations to prevent significant investment until the CBDC is in place. What do you think about Gareth Soloway's latest update for Bitcoin and where the crypto market is headed in the coming weeks? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.